Okay, so we're recording, broadcasting, and
Here we go.
we're going.
It's so exciting. We have a celebrity. Woo!
Wait, me or him? No. You want me to just go with it? Okay, so today, you guys, obviously, we've been doing this every day, different topics that we think Dr. Gill and I have thought have been very important to address the needs of our community with what's going on with COVID and what the different topics that we could help out with. So today we're on the Transformational Tuesdays, and we're talking about beauty. And I have with me my husband. I was gonna say our husband. my husband, Joseph Giustizia, and he is a celebrity stylist and owner of Muse A Hair Salon, where Muse Spa is actually co-located with. And Joseph and I have spent many years kind of really trying to work together to meet the needs of all things beauty, whether it be from the hair side to the aesthetic side, and keep it all in one central location. And so throughout this COVID time of close down, we recognized the real struggle people are having with not feeling great about how they look. And so we've had a lot of conversations, and we kind of thought it would be a good day to have him on. So welcome, Joseph.
Thank you. I'm actually very happy to be invited to be part of this today. To be quite frank, I've always had a strong opinion on the importance of beauty and taking care of yourself because it lifts you up. I've had the great pleasure of actually helping people through the years on the way they look. I mean, let's be honest. The first thing you do when you get up in the morning is you walk into that bathroom to brush your teeth, and you look in the mirror first, and oh my God, that could set the pace for the whole day. So I know there's an importance to that and how you feel and the way you respond to just about everything that you do.
Good hair day.
I've been very fortunate. good hair day makes it, but I've been very fortunate to be part of people's lives and changing them through the years, and it's been 40 plus years for me.
Oh my gosh, you actually.
Yeah, but I didn't say all of the years.
Okay.
But I've enjoyed actually being able to help people and change their lives, as people have helped me in their stories that they tell, because apparently, especially in a time like this, and again, I am really thrilled to be part of this. When people are feeling a little crummy, sitting home and doing nothing and hoping for the best.
And then they see like inches of gray roots, and they're like,
I've got some answers for that today. But what I do want to make just a quick note is that just not long ago, we've all recognized those first responders, our military men, and then not too long ago, which I've lived through, as all of us have, the 9/11 first responders, which were the firefighters and police. And now today we're talking about the nurses and doctors, and then at the end of the day, I think we found that leveling ground. We're all very important in humanity. And that goes right down even to beauty. Even a hairdresser can actually lift your spirits, just as I'm sorry to put myself on the same ground, but as a doctor or fireman or anyone else. So the playing field has finally been leveled, and I'm excited about it because it shows the humanity in all of us and the importance of every single individual. And this program that you guys are doing, Pulsar Health, and certainly Muse Spa, I'm really thrilled and excited that what we're doing, and certainly want to contribute to that.
No, thank you for that. It's so true that since we've not been able to have things that we're used to, it has a whole new level of appreciation for how important it is to be able to get your hair looking the way you want it, to have somebody to talk with, somebody familiar, and to have that sense of community and connection that we just, and until we've, like, this is such a strange time. Nobody's ever lived through anything like where you can't go and get your hair look good, and you just, not only do you have to try and fix it yourself, but you have to deal with this whole emotional side of it too. And so it totally highlights like how we are emotional, spiritual beings, and each of us has such a role in each other's lives. My father, before he passed, he had a gas station and repair shop in Maryland, and he just like didn't retire for ages because he just loved the community, like people coming, going, and then he retired and went to California, and he was so bored, and he just missed the people, and his health just declined. He just went straight downhill, and it was because he didn't have those interactions. And it's a business, but it has such interactions with people. It has its own lifeblood. You've had Muse for how long now? 20 years? Or how long has Muse been there?
23 years here in Florida, another 20 years up in New York.
So, but under different business names. So the location we're currently at, you've been there almost 10 years?
Yes.
Yeah. So, but I've actually been surprised just, before we kind of get into the questions here, I have been surprised how many people have reached out to Joseph, really going, like, men and women, surprisingly men, like, I don't know what to do about my hair, like right now. You wouldn't think men would care like that much about their hair, and like women, like really it's really incredible that the amount of people who have reached out, not only on the aesthetic side of like, when can I please get my Botox done, but the phone calls that he's received of people just, what can I do,
If I can, I'd love to share a very quick story. Many years ago, I went on a model call training for hairdressers, and we couldn't get models. So fortunately, one of the people participating's husband worked in a mental institution. So he was able to get us people that we could work on. And they were all young, very, very cool people that we were using as models. At the end of the day, I'm going to make a long story short and tell you what I think people could do tomorrow to feel better. So we were doing these people, and there was a woman that I had that when I was doing her hair, I did whatever, and she felt really great about herself. Later on, I'm making this quick, the doctors called me back and said, this woman never lifted her chin out of her chest for years, and that the magic of feeling better about herself just by the way she looked was amazing, and something that they couldn't accomplish over time. To the end of that story, what I'd like to say is for all of us, even tomorrow, wake up, because I know I haven't been doing it, but just when you get up tomorrow, put a little gel in your hair, slick it back, wash your face, put some makeup on, because all of us have been sitting in the home for like 6-7 weeks. No one's seeing us, so we don't really care unless we're coming on, to a webinar.
I've been doing makeup every day now. I'm like, okay, I'm a little tired.
I promise you, every single person watching today and listening to us will feel better just by doing that simple act. Look in that mirror and be like John Travolta in the movie and do your hair a little bit.
Embrace.
And maybe if you want to wear makeup, men and women, whatever makes you happy, do it. And I promise you, your day will be a lot better from that simple act.
It is so true. In medicine, we have this thing called the lipstick sign. And that's like after surgery, it's a sign of recovery. When they stop putting their lipstick on, you know they're going to make it. You know they're going to make it.
So true to the point. Isn't it imagine? All that money you wasted on school.
Now what happens when you see the men come in wearing lipstick? You go like, okay, they're way better than better.
They're feeling great.
Somebody, obviously.
So we'll get into our question. Oh, go ahead.
One more thing. The magic of hair. Like as a plastic surgeon, I love plastic surgery because you transform people's. Like I'm a craniofacial specialist. I do a lot of breast too, but I love it because you transform people. But they go through a period of pain as they're recovering to get to that transformation. But with hair, it's like bam. No pain, all gain. And I just love that about hair and makeup. It's just amazing.
I've always said that, people let only 2 people really in their circle of life touch them. And it's a doctor and a hairdresser. The doctor, they go, you can touch me. They'll give you permission, but get your hands off of me fast. And a hairdresser, that you can touch me all day long and maybe I'll have a cigarette when we're done. So I love, the ability to change lives and the permission people give us to make them feel better. And it's really, created quite an experience in my life to be able to change others, and equally they have changed mine. So
can you share some tips with us?
Yeah, absolutely.
We want secrets.
First and foremost, like I said, tomorrow morning, everybody get up and just make a small attempt. You don't have to be going to a movie, but slick back your hair, put some gel in it, create a new look. Actually, you know, to feel better because it's summertime. And if you don't try to like play a little bit, I always tell people, try to play. I mean, have some fun with yourself, especially now. Who cares? No one sees you that much. Or you look in the mirror, have some fun. I have shaved my beard off 3 times during this quarantine, watched it grow in. I've given myself a side part.
I'm shaving my beard. He's worn his hair down like Caesar. I'm like, what are we doing?
And I think it's fun and people should do it. And laughter, we know, certainly helps the situation. So, but what I would say to some of the people who are home, and waiting to, you know, they're seeing their roots grow in and they're seeing a new person and wondering, what is my husband and what is my wife thinking of me? You know, I say, you know, there are some things out there that do help. Be careful, but, you know, play. There's nothing wrong with, like, you know, if you have some gray hair growing in, some of the box colors today are okay to use. I don't believe in going crazy with them because they have consequences like everything. Part of my education, we understand that we actually have to tweak just as other professionals in their profession have to tweak every time we see a client or a guest that comes into our salon. We know that, you know, you have to tweak it depending upon the situation.
Yeah,
so just let it drag you through this.
I read this book by a hair
Can I build on that?
One time you said that every time they come in, the hair is different, and therefore your formula has to be different, and that's what you mean by tweaking, isn't it? The color is different every time.
Absolutely. Well, you know, that's where the professional comes in, because depending on, might I say, if a woman is, you know, that time of the month having her period, her body chemistry is different. The product will react differently. As most people today, they would ask, can I have hair color done because I'm pregnant? And, you know, it was really the hairdressers who started that, not the doctors, because neither one of us really know the true answer to that. So the safe avenue for a doctor is don't do it. The hairdresser was the one who went to the doctor and said, you know, we're finding that it just doesn't take. Their hormones are off, their temperature's off, and everything, you know, depends upon those factors. So we don't do it, you know, just because it doesn't come out great. So then, you know, that's the new philosophy, is just don't do it. So it really does depend upon the individual.
Stress, as we were talking about stress impacting our hormone levels and things like that. So the amount of stress that we're under right now will change that hair growth and how it's going to accept, just as we, you know, change how we accept things when we're under stress. So does our hair. And so, you know, I know Joseph and I are even constantly like changing my color a little bit, just because, well, the formula that worked, you know, last time is not quite working, you know, this time, kind of thing. You know, and a lot of hairdressers I know, Muse A Hair Salon has offered the service of, you know, we'll actually provide your formula to you and send it to you and give you instructions of how to apply it, so that at least we're staying within the realm of the same products and all that stuff.
Can you mail people their formulas at this time?
I actually thought that at this time it would be, I didn't want to do it, to be honest with you, because we did fight about it, because my formulation is really, you know, adds up of the years of what I've learned to do and to do it right. But yet I felt that people did need help, and I'd rather them do that than make a mistake. So I try to express, you know, the importance of doing what I tell them to do when I sent this package out. I also sent them a $25 voucher for when they come back, so we can fix it. You know, to be helpful to them, but to make them feel a little bit better, because it does have, you know, but we can pull them through the idea, like everything that you were doing, and I know certainly Muse Med Spa, what Pam is doing, you know, you're trying to be helpful in one way or another. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're not the end all. There's certain things we really can't do. I've had a few people write me about doing highlights.
Yep, like
can I do them home? And those usually the people that their hair falls out.
Yeah. It's
dangerous, and it's hard for a hairdresser to be like me saying, listen, I would like to fix my nose while no one sees me. Can you tell me how to do it?
You're right.
And I would think, no, we shouldn't be doing that. So, you know, there's some things I tell people, please wait, a little gel and a scarf. And
we were going to get into selling hats.
Yeah, hats.
You know, with a, you know, strap for your mask and stuff.
I'm excited about, if I can keep talking quick, is the new normal. I've done a virtual haircut on the radio station, which I thought was comical. I also see there's virtual wine tastings, which I really think is comical. So, you know, it's been a really funny new normal. And if that is the new normal, I'm going to be a fantastic hairdresser telling people how to, you know, whatever. Maybe we can have like little things you paste on that look good or whatever.
It's like learning to fly a plane when you're getting the instructions from the guy on air traffic control. Like, how do I do this? What button do I press? But would you would you consider doing online things though if people can't make it out to you? Like, and like Boca is a big area, but like I'm in West Palm, it might, I don't know if people would, like, it's not that far to travel, it's only 40 minutes, but I mean, would you consider doing anything online to advise people or to help them somehow? Because I think a lot of people are going to be scared to go out, you know, even after this is over, especially older people or people who have got medical problems. Like, what can they do?
It's a really interesting and very good question. I'm actually blessed and fortunate that, I mean, I have people in my network that I've been able to help through the years, and certainly right now that are as far away as New York and Europe and Canada, and I mean, they're from all over the country, so they can't just get here right now and are asking for help. And generally, I try to give them a little bit of structure and how to get past some of these hurdles, but it's a little difficult because I see the upside and the downside also. But like I said, there's nothing a little gel and patience, you know, and simply patience. I'll tell people, remember, I'm in the beauty business, so I'm not just, you know, cornered in by just doing hair. So I'll tell people, play with makeup, play with fashion. I was going to wear a fancy scarf today just to change the mood.
You do it on
which I do quite often. So, you know, do all of those things that make you smile, because the one thing that I'm hoping we all come around to, and I think you need a comedian on this event that you guys are doing, because if we don't start, we need to laugh a little bit more, even, you know, at things and the situation, and even at ourselves, as I've been learning to do. So yeah, I would help. I'm trying to help people. You know, where my best help, I think, comes in is calming them down and do nothing. Sometimes doing nothing and being happy with who you are and recognizing that new you is okay.
It might be working you into a new hairstyle. Some people helping you transition. You never know. You know,
some people look really good with gray. They never knew it. You know.
That's a great point, Pamela. That like at least they could be wearing their hair differently if it's a little bit longer, or in a different hat or a different style. And I love that you said that you play around with scarves and things, because I read a lot of books, and one of these books was saying that the only thing that most people have control over, because they go to their jobs, they pay their taxes, they go to certain restaurants, the only thing they really control is their style. What they wear, how they have stuff around them, that is who your real personality is. And then to be able to play with that and have fun with that, and have guidance from somebody like you who has an eye for style, you know, that would be so helpful to people like, don't do that. And you might try that.
Yeah, believe me, sometimes we have discussions.
Well, I'm telling all those men, I am really surprised at how many men have reached out. I'm really surprised, but it makes sense because women, you know, they're used to doing their hair and their makeup to make themselves feel a little bit better. To my surprise, it's been more men that are reaching out. What do I do? Should I buzz it off? And I try to, again, bring comedy and tell them, get that trimmer. I was on the radio station last week talking about, you know, that trimmer you use to shave your dog's butt. And they were like, oh my God. You know, but it was, you know, but men, I tell them, you know what, take a scarf, wrap it around your head, act like Stevie Van Zandt, and you're in, you know, a band or something, you know, but have some fun. You know, there's nothing we can do. And
nobody's gonna know who you are right now anyway, because we have masks on, like, so nobody's gonna know.
This is my third pair of different glasses I'm wearing while we're
So what would we be able to expect once, because we've been discussing it, and I know like Palm Beach and Dade and Miami County have a little bit of a different structure than the rest of South Florida or the rest of Florida. So what do you think we're going to be able to expect once we do get the opening, you know, okay?
Here's what it's a very good question, and here's what I would tell you to expect and you should expect. And I think questioning the salon that you go to, or just about anything you do, there's nothing wrong with asking questions, and if it's a halfway decent salon, they should be able to answer these things with confidence. In the industry, just like it is in medical, well, not just like it's in medical, but somewhat a lesser, we have to take always precautions on being clean and sanitary and using certain things that I strongly recommend. We're set up over at Muse Hair Salon we always keep all of our stuff sterile, including I use one comb per client. If I drop it, I use another comb. Same thing with our brushes. And in our salon, we've already are set up with 6 feet apart, which I think is important when you go in. I believe you should have a mask. I do know that some of the regulations that are coming down for our near future are the client should have a mask, the hairdresser should have a mask. They should be practicing social distancing. There's stuff like, and I'm just going to bring this over here because we picked this up. It was quite costly, but it's called.
You're not advertising.
No, I'm not. No, I don't own it or anything. But it's Lucaside and this barbicide. There's all things that do kill the coronavirus, and you should expect you want to see them do it. And same thing with their scissors, combs, hands, all of those things.
So what about percentage of like occupancy of the building? And, you know, like
we're going to follow whatever the rules tell us to do. I mean, we certainly don't think there should be people waiting. I'm going to take the waiting area out of my salon so that we can have just one person being taken care of at a time. One of the important things are, I think, if people can, we are being directed that people, if they can, please shampoo your hair and come in. We'll do it, but we're also asked not to, and I'm in very much agreement with this, not to even blow dry their hair because it might be blowing some of those droplets that we talk about around the room. So to expect to come in, we can do your color, make you look a little better. We can cut your hair if it's horrible, and make you look better and feel better. But there's going to be certain limitations, and that's okay.
And we can't do that quite yet. We don't have the okay to do that yet, but as soon as we
I just had an idea about the mask, because you can't have the mask behind your ears, you know, because it's going to interfere with the color. You know, they have mask balls where they used to have like the mask that you would wear.
Oh yeah.
The rod.
Just hold it there.
That these ones that you could cover your mouth.
You can make it look like your face.
Yeah.
Put some lipstick and stuff on it.
That's a very, very good. And again, we can bring comedy in because I can make all kinds of faces, buck teeth. I can actually get some
big lips or like, yeah.
Very, very good. Thank you. And if you're not happy with your nose, I got another one for you.
And then I'll fix it for real after.
Right,
And then we'll send them off to you.
So what would you recommend, Joseph, for somebody who has taken it into their own hands and done their own like color at home and maybe like messed it up or whatever, when they do come back in, what does a hairstylist need to know in order to make sure that, you know, they're understanding what chemicals have been added in there? You know.
Another very good question. And again, you know, we're fortunate because these days, you know, technology and the companies that are out there, specifically L'Oreal, Weller, and the like, they've really changed the stuff that you buy in the store. Box color is not half bad. So I'm okay with people using it with a little bit of direction and a little understanding just to buy you a little bit of time. I do think when you do come back to your hair salon that you should maybe bring what you've done so that we have an understanding of how we might need to add or take away and change that formula to move forward.
Are there any brands of color and products that are better than others that you would recommend? Like, because there's so much out there, and I know it depends on the individual, but are there some that are like better caliber than others that you think people could look for?
Yeah, simply said, I think I would stay, which I actually worked, so I'm a little biased. I worked for the company L'Oreal out of Paris. They make some really good stuff. They spend quite a bit of money on R&D, so they've come up with products that they're not professional, but they're in line because they do take our advice and they do, you know, respond back and forth with us on what we should do and what they should be doing. So it's a fairly decent product. I've always gone back to the remarks or the statements that I make is, you know, you get what you pay for. I mean, if you're looking for like that $2 product, I would be cautious. It's not for me to jump into your pocket, but at the same time, it's a lot less money than coming to see us. But, you know, spend the proper money and buy the very best product out there. L'Oreal makes some really good ones. Yes. Out of all, I would say I would look, and you can get it anywhere. So.
Well, I think one of the important things to know, which is something I wanted to do a thing on a while back, is for people to really understand the chemistry involved with what hairdressers' colors do. Because when you're like, if you're buying a box product or something like that, it's just like one color. But what your hairdresser is doing, your colorist is doing, is they're taking formulations of different types of colors and mixing them together to really get whether you need it to be, you know, warm, or you need it to be ashy or cool or whatever. And then also changing the level of peroxide or whatever that I developer to, you know, get that color in there, whether they got to strip it or whatever. That's not my expertise, but just hearing all of the what goes into it for people to understand, like, hey, it's not just slap it on and wash it out and it's a one and done. It's really a formulation, and there's a lot of chemistry behind it that people don't realize. So I think what Joseph is kind of saying is, if you need to resort to a box color, there are some that are decent, but it's never going to be the level of what you'll get with the actual formula that is specifically formulated for you in a salon. Yep.
And I know that, like, having done a lot of research on makeup, L'Oreal has like the best makeup in terms of their price point in like CVS and things. They have the best quality, but that doesn't compare it to makeup that specifically can only be sold at certain salons. Like, and skincare, like for Pamela and I, there's certain skincare that we can have as medical grade skincare that you just can't get at a store.
Right.
Well,
colors, like, aren't they like certain grades that only hairdressers can have? Salons can have?
Absolutely, but let's never take away, and I'm sure you and I will agree that you never want to take away from the professionalism of the individual, be it a surgeon like yourself, or a good hairdresser, or a good nurse, technician, whatever. You know, there's many years that go into what we do and how to use the products that we're fortunate to have at our disposal. So it's not always the product that I've actually had through the years, and I am in a pretty wealthy area, generally, even when I was in New York City, but I would have clients take my brush or my scissor thinking that's what did the job. No. So, you know, it is our abilities and our education, our time in, that really is what makes it all work, using the tools that we have. But I will say, you know, feel comfortable. This is to get you through that in-between part. Is it going to be great? It might be, and it might not be, but the bigger problem that I have in trying to walk people through this is, unfortunately, if this goes on too long, because it's the second and third time that they might use a box color, that's when we have problems. Because you'll have a buildup of that color. I simply tell people, if let's say you have gray growing in, what would make you think, so you have 1 inch of gray and then the rest of your hair is brown from the past of color. What makes you think that if I take this product and put it on and makes the gray brown, that if I put it on the rest of your hair, that'll be fine? They'll almost make it black. So you need to understand what makes gray the color you want it to doesn't make the rest of your hair the same. So you have to be careful. Hairdressers, good colorists, we learn a lot about chemistry. We use actually 2-3 different things to achieve the end result that we don't generally tell people, but that's what we do. That's why we look good. So yeah.
Any tips on styling for people at home? Any secrets that you can share?
I honestly think really simple at this time, and especially that we're coming into warm weather, and you know, we should be out there getting some sun, as you guys have talked about, and getting some vitamin D in your body and whatever. I simply think the best and easiest, put a little gel in your hair, have fun, be the Fonz, you know, have some fun, because if you're going to start blow drying it or it's difficult. It's a little, especially if you don't have a haircut color, all of those things you need.
And
so
really avoiding all of that damage that doesn't, because the stress is already.
I just think have fun. I mean, I have done center parts, side parts. I'm going to put, if I could, I'm going to put pigtails tomorrow. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I think that's the best way to go at it. So
I'm going to go, what is going on?
Yeah.
I want to see your hair in bunches tomorrow.
He's going to have all the
little cornrows, something. But try, if nothing else at this time, I think we should be able to have some fun, make fun of ourselves.
Tomorrow we're doing like emotional, like whatever, talking about the emotions. So what hairstyles are we?
If I can come on tomorrow, I'll have my hair blonde and probably broken.
You might be wearing a wig. You never know. So. Anyway, what time are we at? We're pretty much. Does anybody have any questions that we're on, or?
I'll just look, see if anybody wrote anything. There's 7 participants, so no questions. I just had one last question. It just escaped me. Oh, hair growth. So when I went to your party, I mentioned it yesterday. You were telling people to they have these brushes. If they have curly hair, the bristles will further apart. If they have, I don't know whether that's what you recommend for everybody, but to improve hair growth, what kind of things do you recommend?
What a wonderful question. I have been an advocate of brushing the hair like the old days, and we're talking about in the 1800s, and so where women were always, 100 strokes a day. And I always tell women and men, like there's so many men who have obviously hair issues. I'll even have people who don't like to brush their hair. I go, do me a favor. And you'll agree with me, I think, on this. Maybe not completely, but I'll say lean your head over the bed and just get blood up there, because it's all about what you nourish, your scalp with. It's like planting seed in sand, nothing happens. So if we have a good areas for your hair to grow and blood is feeding it, which is exactly what helps hair grow better or stay in your head, is blood. We need nutrition to the hair. So brushing it brings blood to the scalp. Yeah. So does leaning your head over the bed, and certainly exercise and good diet, as you guys have all been.
Is there any specific brush to use?
We have a question. Yeah, what specific? Oh, we have a question. I love it. We have a question. What specific brush?
I actually like it. It's great that you say. I like a brush that actually you can feel. I use it's called a Denman brush. It has plastic bristles. Here's what I like about it. It has wide teeth. It's plastic and can be cleaned, as opposed to natural bristle brushes, which are good. But in this case, we're talking about stimulating the scalp. In these times of you sitting there doing basically nothing, you want to stimulate the scalp. So it's called a Denman brush, or even like a vent brush on the same order. Get something to get through the knots without pulling your hair out of your head.
What about brushing wet hair versus dry hair? And is there like that wet?
Very good question. What most people don't understand is when your hair is wet, it's at its most fragile stage. Hair is not as strong when it's so. I recommend maybe damp to dry if you're going to brush it. Before I go to bed in the evening, even though I'm losing my hair, I do brush my hair at night while it's dry. Just before I go to bed, and I tell people to do so. In the morning, well, before you shampoo it even, you should brush, really get to stimulate the scalp.
But I would say if you have curly hair, like I have naturally curly hair, and on the days that I wear it curly, I try not to brush it so much, because then you're breaking a lot, unless, to try to get some of the
curls
tangle out, you don't want to be breaking your hair off by brushing through the curl.
I just had 2 more comments. One is the second comment I'll say first. I want to hear some tips on scalp massage, but the first comment is I wanted to say that as Medi-Spas, we do offer hair growth things. We have CeraVe from Hydrofacial, which does an amazing job at exfoliating, and then you nourish it with a spray that you take home as well. And we also have PRP that we can inject to help hair growth, but not if you've lost all your follicles, only if you're sort of in that losing stage. But I wanted to finish up with the tips on scalp massage, because that's one of the best parts of visiting a hair salon, is getting those gifted people who can make your scalp relax. Like, any tips on having a good massage?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, we don't be afraid. You can't hurt yourself or anyone. And it's a nice way to share with your whoever's in that room with you is, don't be afraid. You can't massage too hard. I don't think it hurts. And most people would find it very pleasurable. Again, bringing blood to the scalp. And the things that you did mention, we have used them through the years, or I have seen places like yours, Dr. Gill, who have used it, and we do get good results. I have seen very impressive results. And I have to tell you, I've been around a long, long time. Most things don't work. The new technologies of today are quite impressive. I'm excited about the future as they start to multiply and do even more.
There's a few really good things coming down
things
too,
that work, including diet and whatever. But to the answer of massage, again, that in addition to exercise and good food and all those other good things that you guys have been talking about, it all plays a role in everything we're doing. Simply said.
We could keep talking, but we're out of time.
We'll have to have him on again. So
I'll be on again with a suit and different color hair. No problem.
Thank you, Joseph, for participating. And we'll have all of this up on the website, hopefully by the end of today. I've been trying to like take some self-care time too. So tomorrow we're talking about the emotional kind of impact that COVID's having on people and ways to cope.
If people slick their hair tomorrow morning, they'll feel much better when they come on this event tomorrow. Promise.
I'm gonna have gel in my hair tomorrow. Gel.
I'm gonna have, I think I'll have pigtails. We'll see. I don't know. Definitely.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Josie.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Good one. Bye.